So I'm so mad I'm not even going to get out the tripod, dude. So I'm watching the current, most recent video, I think from 3 hours ago. It's David Cole and Aussie Kozak talking about the situation in the Northern Territory, right? And so, the truth's always in the middle, and anything that when you come in and it's hyper polarized, that's just my motto. That's the safest thing. Truth's in the middle. So you're hearing, well, the army's down there forcing people to get vaccinated. I said, well, I bet you it's somewhere in between. Because I asked somebody in Australia, like, literally directly, are they doing it like at gunpoint, or are they just there helping? Because it makes a difference. Not that I agree with either way, but like when you go talk about it. If you say they're holding people down at gunpoint and injecting them, and then they're not, no one's ever going to fucking believe anything we say ever again. Okay? So, that's the debate, They put out a statement saying, oh no, they're just handing out food and teddy bears and blankets and shit and everything's fine, right? And I say, okay, we need to walk it back beyond that. From what I am hearing, this has nothing to do with the military with guns or not guns or anything. But what I'm hearing is they're fining people if they leave their home, if they're not taking the shot, okay? Now that right there, even if there was no military or anything, that by itself is, that's crazy cuckoo land. They've moved the fucking Overton window so far that we're like, well, the military that were trying to get people vaccinated weren't armed. So this is no big deal. The military shouldn't even be involved at all. And the excuse is, well, they're bringing in food and all that. Well, gee whiz, what happened to the normal infrastructure that brought in all the food and the fuel and everything throughout your whole country down there? Oh, you fucked that all up with your fucking rules that you've created. It's all self-induced. It's obvious. Everybody knows. I mean, I've even got to, psychologically get myself past the point of trying to remember that I don't have to convince everybody shit's fucked up, because clearly it is. I'm isolated in another way, ironically, which is, it's normal here. It's fucking normal here. There's still some fucked up rules in the liberal run cities, but where I live, completely, totally normal. So I still have to keep telling myself, nah, everybody else down there, it's a whole different situation. And a lot of people are aware, whereas over here, people are really mad. There's a lot of people, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people, at least where I live, I can only speak for Texas and the area I'm in, but there's a lot of people that are really super fucking hyper aware of not everything that's going on, but a lot of the picture is coming a lot clearer, in my opinion, to these people. And they're not just going about their day-to-day life. But as far as protests in the streets and shit that you can see, we don't have that because there's not a whole lot of oppression against us directly, so people aren't pushed to the point it's, hey, go to work. Yeah, go to work. What are y'all going to do this weekend? Oh, we're going to go to the water park and have a fucking barbecue. Great for them. I wish people, instead of doing that bullshit, would get more prepared for what's coming and try to educate other people about what the fuck's happening. But either way, I'm not seeing the massive protests here, so I've got to convince myself, nah, dude, people are still riled up over everywhere else. You watch protests in Australia or Europe or fucking the UK or all kinds of other places all over the world. And it's real, but it doesn't feel real because you're not there, I've been desensitized to seeing. In the last 2 years, I've been desensitized to seeing people in hazmat gear, giant riots, fires, people shooting each other in the streets, and then everyone running to the government for help and being helpless. So when I see giant protest marches, I'm just like, oh yeah, which one is that? Oh, I don't know. They delete all the fucking videos. I can't even get a clear mental picture of geographically where all these things are happening and stuff, because it's it's all secondhand, rumor mill. Well, here, this might be the cops beating people in Uruguay, or it might be some shit from 12 years ago because there's also a lot of that shit going around too. But this clearly, the dude, Mr. Cole, I think he said his name, David, right? I'll have to recheck. But yeah, he's saying, here's my name, this is me, this is real, this is what I'm saying is happening. This needs to be looked into. So if we're gonna let this happen to Aboriginal people, First Nation people, or anybody, where you can't leave your house unless you participate in an experiment. But we're not forcing you. We're just going to isolate you in your house and not let you leave until you. It's like a fucking Waco standoff, dude. I mean, when are you going to do something? Just call the Australian consulate where you live, or the nearest one, and just tell them, I'm watching what's happening in the Northern Territory. I've heard there are rumors of certain things that aren't true, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your basic strategy of isolating people until they comply. That is wrong. That's dehumanization. It's fucking siege, dude. If it was on a bigger scale, and it was like an invading army doing it to, like, you know, like in the feudalist days, like they want to take us back to, if you had a walled city and another army came and just like stopped all supplies coming in until you gave up, that's fucking siege. That's what you're doing to people when you tell them, we're going to fine you $5,000 if you leave your house until you get this fucking shot. Fuck that.